Stephanie has done a great job, and I guess then you've done a great job, because it's clear to me that she's learned a lot, and she's doing quite well with her OCD. And it's never perfect, but she had a lot of good thoughts, and the way she framed her OCD and the way she was, in particular, I think dealing with uncertainty and being able to work with that, I thought was very impressive. So she's done a really good job. And one of the things that came to mind, and one of the things I would want to address would be, with her pedophile intrusive thoughts, what is the core fear? And this is something that I always go to when I'm working with somebody. What are they really afraid of? And there's a couple of different levels and a couple of different types of core fears that you're going to see. One is common, and it's very, can be overwhelming, is I'm afraid I'm going to act. I'm going to do something I shouldn't be doing. I'm going to molest a child or act in some way that's untoward. And that's a scary thing, and it can lead to a lot of anxiety and panic. The second level would be what I would call the moral level. And what kind of a person would have these terrible thoughts that I have? Why do I have them? What does it mean about me? And in the third level, I would say, and sometimes this comes developmentally after a person's been in therapy for a while, but not necessarily, but I'm not really that frightened anymore. Maybe I'm not that focused on the moral level, but I'm bothered by the fact that I have these thoughts. Why do I have the thoughts? What's wrong with me? Why can't I control my thoughts? What's wrong with my mind? Sometimes you hear people say, I'm afraid I'm crazy, maybe I'm schizophrenic. Yeah, I know I have OCD, but I think it's more than that. How do I know for sure there's not something more wrong with me? And of course, these levels can sort of mix and match, and they're not necessarily, specific and separated. I'm always surprised that people think that they should be able to sort of control their thoughts as if, as an example, as I'm talking to you, I'm not going in here and selecting a thought to throw out there that just kind of flow. So, of course, when you're working on something specifically, you have the ability to kind of direct your thoughts. But the stuff that just pops up, I like to say it bubbles up out of the cauldron, you don't have any control over it. It just pops up. There it is. And I think most people are aware of that, and it's fine. But when the thought comes with a lot of emotional impact, then it's scary to them, and it feels like it's out of control. And I think that, the place that I would go with that is the place that I always really go, which is you don't really know. And all you really know is that you're having the thought. At the surface level, you can only kind of be descriptive. I like to say, at the top level is the description of the behavior or the thought or the action. And then anything else below that is kind of down the rabbit hole. Why did I have it? What does it mean? The answer to all those questions is, I don't really know.
Okay.
And I heard that with Stephanie, that she's worked on some of that. So I would apply that here too with the moral issue. Why do I have it? And sometimes there's a sort of secret self kind of concept of maybe deep down inside, I'm this awful person. Anytime you're drilling down on a concept, you're going to get stuck. And I talk about this all the time. So what does it mean to be a good person? Well, everybody kind of knows. But if you start to really drill down on it, what does it mean? You get lost. And when you start to keep score, and this is where typically people go with OCD, and, well, I did this awful thing, yeah, but I do this, and I'm good because of this, and I'm bad because of that, and you try to keep score, you just go round and round and round like that. And there's really no resolution to it. So I think understanding that there's not a resolution is really helpful. You can get overlap for sure and have a lot of depressive symptoms that accompany the OCD. But I think I would say, I would look at how frequent and how generalized the thought of I'm a bad person is. And if that thought is everywhere and it comes up in multiple contexts and, and I'm a bad husband or a bad wife and a bad mother and I'm not a good teacher and I don't like myself and it just is generalized across a variety of contexts, then I'd start to think more about depression. If it's specific to, well, I had these thoughts or I was unable to do these things, and that's triggering it, then I think of it more in terms of the OCD process. I want the worst thought that your mind can conjure up to be something that you can manage. And so you have to go to that to as far as your OCD will go. And I say this to people all the time. You have to be willing to go wherever your OCD will take you. It could give you the most horrific, heinous, just, immoral kind of a vision or thought. And you have to be willing to go there. You don't have to like it, but you have to be willing to look at it